check out ESPN Film's newly released 30 for 30 podcasts. From the producers of our award-winning documentary series, this is an amazing collection of sports stories you need to hear to believe. Speaking of amazing, Delta Airlines and the Fly Delta app make your travel experience amazingly easy with real-time bag tracking, e-boarding, and passport scanning during check-in. And don't forget to download 30 for 30 podcasts to fill your flight with stories that will keep you coming back for more.
Stugotz announced that the University of Miami is 2-0 headed into FSU week. For some reason, it gave Miami the victory over Arkansas State in a game that's not going to be played because of a hurricane.
I do believe in cases like this, the better team, the favored team, should be the team that gets the win. I do believe that.
In cases like this, right?
Yes.
Cases like what?
Special cases.
Right.
A game gets canceled due to weather.
Okay,
yes,
all right.
Yes.
So just give it to the team that you thought was going to win.
Correct.
So it can't be rescheduled. So that's it. Miami's going to be playing fewer games than everybody else.
The real win is they don't have to play this difficult game that Mike's been talking about for months on the road at Arkansas State, and they now get 2 weeks to prepare for Florida State. That's a win. It's a W.
Unless that game gets canceled, too.
And that's, well, would Florida State be favored in that game without their quarterback? Because if not, the Canes are 3-0.
Okay, there it is. According to Stugotz's new ruling system, I don't understand how Stugotz is able to maneuver incompetence into comedic genius at every turn. Like, that's just bad math. He actually thought the Hurricanes were 2-0. Yeah. That's a thought he actually had.
Yes.
And then he just reworked the scenario, and now it works.
Yeah. Now we're potentially 3-0. I mean, weather permitting. We'll see.
All right. So, Stugotz, as you know, is the worst.
Yeah.
And
you're
not supposed to agree with that. I can't even imagine what it's like in the Stugotz household, because Stugotz was just frustrated with his computer. He's like, how about you figure it out? How about you're home 8 hours, I'm at work, you're home at 8 hours, how about you figure it out? How about I get home? He's talking to his computer. His wife's not there. His wife can't hear what he's saying. He's talking to an email she has sent him in a tone that he would never talk to her in. He's like, how about you handle this? How about you get the gas? How about I get home from doing work and then you tell me where we're going instead of making me plan it?
It's driving me crazy. She's driving me crazy. She knows we have a radio show to do, and all she is doing is peppering me with text. Where do you want to go? What are we going to do? Where are we going to stay? I know you want to watch the games this weekend. We need a hotel. What do you want to do? I'm like, listen, I'm working. You were home 8 hours yesterday with no kids. You're home 8 hours today. No kids. Figure it out. When I get home, just tell me where we're going. We'll pack up the car, and we'll go.
It's too late to get flights. I've never seen it like
drive.
This.
I told her we drive.
I've never seen. Well, here's the other thing. The roads are crazy. Look, man, I've never been spooked by one of these things. Never. I slept through Hurricane Andrew in Pembroke Pines. Slept through it.
Really?
Got up and was like, has it come yet? And they're like, it's over. And this thing, I don't even know what to do. And I know many of you are in the same circumstance, because I'm considering for the first time in my life evacuating South Florida, but I don't know where to go.
Right.
Like, if I start driving north, I might be driving right into it.
You might. That's the problem. Like, Abby was like, let's just stay in Orlando. I'm like, it might hit Orlando.
No, Orlando,
like, you got to drive out of the state, I think.
Or I don't know. Orlando. Allison was looking for places for me in Orlando yesterday, and everyone there is boarding up, so you can't get a hold of anybody.
Yeah, right now there's a projection that has it going up the spine of Florida, basically taking out the Keys, then hitting the southern tip of the state, i.e. us, and then working its way up north, which would be a real problem in terms of evacuation, because I'm just going to go north and Irma's just going to catch me there. Do I need to drive to Atlanta? Is Atlanta in danger? I'm not really sure what to do. Right now, my plan is to evacuate to Orlando in the evening tomorrow, and then just sort of see where I need to go from there.
Right. Well, I keep telling Abby, Orlando is like 30 minutes from our house. Like, if we're going to stay in Orlando, it doesn't make any sense to stay in Orlando. It just doesn't, because I think the Hurricane's actually going to go there.
You should just stay at your house. I think you're outside of the cone.
Well, that's what I thought. Yes. Everyone, come to my house.
Yes, you live so far away from here that we might as well be going to Australia to go to your house.
But to Dan's point about never seeing it like this, we're already dealing with post-hurricane shortages. Already, I was driving around Kendall thinking that I'd be able to get some water easily because I'm being proactive on going out on a Tuesday to get my supplies. There's nothing there. I drove around for 80 minutes to find enough gas to get to work today.
I mean, that's everybody. It's everybody right now. And it is terrifying. And then what happens is the fear just ends up mounting. Like, because this is an area, and the Keys especially, we are used to this. So this comes, and I'm always during tropical depressions that are headed here, or hurricanes. People who don't know about this stuff are always calling me from another part of the United States. Are you okay? And I'm always like, what are you talking about? But not this time.
Right. This time I have friends from out of state who are saying, hey, get out of your state. Like they're saying, get out of there. I think a lot of that has to do with what they've seen in Houston. And you're right. We've been through a lot of these, and many times they're nothing, but this one is scary.
Well, but the thing is, what I'm used to in South Florida is just a casual indifference about these things. You know, guys on the beach during hurricane reports, guys riding waves, but they're talking about this storm in terms, what are you guys thinking about doing? Roy, you announced yesterday that I don't have the money to evacuate, so you're just going to stay in Miramar.
Yeah, most likely.
Okay.
I thought it had changed to uncertain as to what you were doing this morning, because remember, Anid's very pregnant.
He's got a pregnant wife.
Yeah, and hurricanes, the barometric pressure and whatnot, sometimes that can induce labor, so you need to look out for your family.
He's not that pregnant, is she?
I mean, she's
7 months now.
7 months. It's happened before. So, in fact, Chris Cody was saying that when you're this late in your pregnancy, you can just go to a hospital.
Are you ready for this, Roy? Are you ready for the idea of being a father in the middle of the storm? Like you're going to have to hand deliver your baby.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. I think Irma. No, I'm not naming her Irma. Shut up. Most likely,
not a bad name though.
Thanks to
guys. But it's a Hispanic name.
I'm just going to drive north until I can't drive anymore.
All right.
Okay. A new decision has gotten made. All right. Just going to drive north until I can't drive anymore.
It's because I told him yesterday, I'm like, your life is important.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, maybe I'll go up north.
Had he not considered that his life is important? And more to the point, that in 2 months, that's going to be the most important life in the history of the world, is in 2 months. Like, you got to protect that too.
So Roy was uncertain, but now he just said he's driving as far north as possible.
So the fear here, we've fear-mongered him into chasing him up the state with his pregnant wife, running out of gas with no money. Stuck on 95. There's the chance that he and his pregnant wife will be stuck on 95 as the hurricane hits them. Directly. Just their car.
I'm taking my dog, my wife, and my bachelor dad up north, too. We'll stop in Orlando and see if we have to go to Atlanta. Chris, what are your plans?
I have a friend who got a reservation at a hotel in Atlanta, so if it stays on path, I'm just going to drive up there and crash in his hotel.
How far is the drive from here to Atlanta?
I think 10 hours?
Yeah,
10 hours?
Yeah, 9 hours and 45 minutes. I was Google mapping it last night. So I guess maybe Billy thinks we're all soft, because I think Billy's planning on something.
Oh, he's going to ride it out?
I am, I'm staying. Not. I mean, if I could, I would leave. But I have people that are, close to me that don't want to leave, and I'm surprisingly an anxious person.
Los viejos, the old people.
And my girlfriend doesn't want to leave because, her mom's here, and
they're viejos, her viejos.
Well, here's the thing: is that if I leave, just the two of us, I'm going to be worried about everyone the whole time, and I can't do anything about it. So. I mean,
but that's your natural state.
Yes,
worrying is pretty much your natural state anyway. So you could be here worrying with them or somewhere else worrying about them.
Oh,
whatever it is that you are, you will be worrying.
I didn't sleep last night,
obviously,
and it was Tuesday.
Right.
But, I think something that should be said is that we are, because a lot of people are sending us well wishes and stuff, and they're worried about us. But, we're very lucky.
Oh, yeah.
These islands are getting destroyed.
Oh, my God. This is terrible for the homeless, for poor people, for St. Martin. Yeah. It's horrible. And before you start giving the sympathy to everybody else, this place is going to need it if this hits directly. This is going to be St. Martin. Don't get that confused. We have nothing between where we are sitting right now and the full force of this thing. Nothing. I could look out the door here,
right,
and I could see it coming by just looking at the beach.
People listening, if this is a direct hit, you need to get the F out of here.
Seriously.
Yes.
You need to leave.
I saw too many people driving south this morning. That was ridiculous. I'm serious. I was expecting no one to be driving south this morning.
Still got time.
Get out of here, man. Just go. Get out of here.
But there's still... What?
No, Dan, you have time.
What are you doing?
You don't really have time. There is no guess. I had
you
to work.
Were one of the person.
What do you think they're doing?
I'm telling them to stop working right now and go back north. That's what I'm telling them. They're going to run out of gas. They're not going to be able to get to where they want to go.
You know what's funny?
I have no gas left.
You know what's funny?
Roy, I'll see you on the side of 95.
Hold on. You know what's funny about this? Mike, there is no one in South Florida who did more south driving today than Stugotz. Like, there's no one in there's no one.
People went down to the Gables.
There's no one in this city who has gone further south than Stugotz driving 90 minutes from Australia.
I imagine him with no sense of irony, sticking his head out of the window, saying, "What are you doing?
Yes.
Stop driving south."
I was passing somebody.
I was expecting a light traffic day, to be honest with you, so I was mad at everyone.
That's why you even
Why
noticed
are you going to work?
That's the only reason you even noticed it, is because your traffic was normal.
If you don't have plans, though, you shouldn't just drive north. Like, if you don't have a place to go, because everyone's freaking out statewide, so you could run out of gas and just be stranded somewhere.
Yeah,
and there's hotels that are selling out everywhere. Like, if you don't have a plan, don't just go and hope that something happens.
That's good advice right there.
Guillermo, and you are right about every last syllable that you have uttered. But can I, please, when did you become a meteorologist? Like, you were sitting here talking to us in concerned, stern tones about how it is that this is not something to be flippant about.
Well, it's true. I mean, look.
You were Brian Norcross all of a sudden, soothing us in times of trouble.
No, he's a John Morales guy.
Calming me down.
John Morales is the best.
Even though right before he just tweeted out, "Oh no, terrible tweet, John. Don't do that at this time." But yeah, like, things could still change. So you shouldn't be super panicked. You should have a plan in place. But, I mean, if you can't get out, the beach is not the best place to be, obviously. But, like, if you're further inland, if you're, like, in Kendall, if you're, like, further west, 20 miles in, like, it's not the best situation. But if you have shutters, if you have ways to protect your house, like, you're in a lot better position than people in these islands that don't have anything.
Well, this is what I was thinking about. What would be your recommendation on this? I got a place in Pembroke Pines that has shutters, or I could start heading to Orlando, where I have some hotel reservations. But it feels to me like I'd be safer here. That if Pembroke Pines is in danger in shuttered zone, then Orlando's going to be in danger too, because it's headed right that way. If I'm in danger in Pembroke Pines, then I'm also in danger in Orlando.
I think a lot of people are just getting to Orlando for a day or two, and then if they see the storm headed that way, they're just going to keep driving north.
Right, that's going to be a nightmare on the highways. A lot of people.
You got to be proactive. You got to get the jump on people. You got to be watching the forecast. There is some talk, if you watch the Weather Channel, that it comes up from the south and then starts moving east as soon as it gets to Miami. And at that point, you'd be safe. In fact, what you're riding out in Orlando wouldn't be that bad, certainly by comparison. But going to Orlando would avoid the trouble of going out of state, because if it goes right up the state, man, you're driving 10 hours to Atlanta. That's a very difficult drive, especially under these conditions.
And you're no safer in Naples, right? Like, if you go to the other side of the state.
No, it's actually tracking towards the west, is it not, Mike?
Well, not as of this morning. So we'll see. The thing was jogging west last night, and then this morning
it hits land, and now we see what happened.
Which is so annoying when it comes to if you want to evacuate. If it jogs east, then western parts of the state might be in play, like Tampa.
How about these airlines, by the way, jacking up the prices? I mean, flights are like $600, $700, $800. You're supposed to be helping people out in times like this. Seriously, add more flights, make them cheaper, do something. They should be ashamed of themselves. I'm serious.
There it is. No, I mean, you're right, but the do something is the part that's hard.
Well, how about do me a favor? Don't charge me $800 for a round-trip flight to Atlanta.
Agreed.
Please.
Agreed. But do something about it is what?
Lower the prices, more flights, do something for the people of South Florida. We're scared down here, man.
More flights? Yeah, but I
don't know what I'm doing here. If I ran the airlines, I'd totally be jacking up the prices. Well, it's capitalism.
And you can't be trusted on any of this stuff.
It's true. I can't wait to yell at people on my drive back up north. Like, I'm going to call them wimps. Why are you evacuating? It's not even that big of a storm, because the traffic's going to be atrocious. And I only have like an eighth of a tank left. This is a disaster. Roy, I'm staying at your house tonight.
Why don't you go get gas now? This seems to be...
I tried this morning. There was no gas down here. Went to that marathon. I went to the Shell. There was guys standing out front saying no gas. Come back later. I'll try later, I guess.
So the places were just empty. The reason that you can't be trusted on this stuff, though, beyond the fact that if you were on the other side, you would be driving up prices, is you're the guy who's about to call DirecTV and threaten to cancel his Sunday package, his DirecTV package, because you're just trying to get the discount. You would totally use the airlines. If the airlines right now were in a period of altruism and giving, you would use that, and you would become Carton from the Carton and Daily Show, like reselling tickets.
It's Boomer and Carton.
Oh, bleep me.
That's a fun.
The Carton and Daily Show.
What did I just do?
Is he doing the show with Carson? Or is he doing the show with John Daly?
What did I just
He just
do?
merged Carson.
Christ
Greg
almighty,
Carton and
man.
Carson Daly.
That was horrifying.
Or Carson Palmer. I don't know.
Horrifying what just happened there. And furthermore, I went so inside on that joke. There's nobody listening right now who knows what the hell I'm talking about with Carton.
By the way, that call to DirecTV has already been made.
Yeah, has it?
Yeah.
We got our meteorologist Billy.
What happened?
What happened, Billy? Give us a report here. Concerned meteorologist Billy is looking at his phone as he's going to be nervously throughout the show tracking the hurricane.
Julie Durda of Local 10 just tweeted out a picture of new models, and they all seem to be going east. Well, at least all the ones she's showing us. There could be, ones that they're not telling us about. But all the ones she's showing us are going east and have it hitting... One of them has it hitting Florida, but further north, like by Lake Okeechobee. So it seems to be headed east. But guys, again, remember, it's still early.
Wow, but you feel like soothed now. Basically, you guys will follow anybody, right? I don't know. Julie Durda is Channel 10 down here, right?
I'm following anyone that will give me good news.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Tell me what I need to hear.
Exactly.
Saying, right, even if it's not a meteorologist, even if it's just one of these guys on the street arguing with himself, pushing a shopping cart barefoot.
You want to know when I went to sleep? I went to sleep yesterday at 4 a.m. when Kyle Seeloft, the Marlins pregame radio host, retweeted a picture of like this Eastern moving trend, and I'm like, thanks, Kyle. Now I can go to sleep.
Oh, that's it. So,
yeah.
Kyle, and who is Kyle? Kyle
Seeloft is like a pregame, postgame Marlins radio host, and he just retweeted something that I hadn't seen that like Channel 20 did like hours before. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Kyle.
What I was saying about Carton from the Carton and Daily Show.
Yeah.
I did it on purpose that time. I did it on purpose.
All right.
What I was saying about Carton is he was arrested. He's got that's a very popular show in New York, right?
It's the #1 morning show in that market, yes.
So he was arrested for running a ticket scam of some sort, said to be multi-million-dollar ticket scam of some sort. And so I was saying that I could see Stugotz being like the that of weather. The that of...
Let's be honest, you could see me in that actual story.
I could see you in that actual story, yes. But also as it relates to asking the airlines to give you more flights and cheaper flights and do better, and you should be ashamed of yourself. All of which you're right about.
Yes.
They should do better, but the question is how? Yes, they shouldn't price gouge. It's offensive.
Listen, I don't think they should or can add more flights. That's crazy. But just keep prices normal. I mean, I think that's a fair ask, a fair request.
But the pricing system of the airlines to me has always been confusing because it feels like I understand that they make it up based on demand, which is why it's going up right now. They do that. They make their prices on demand.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it seems random. Is there anything in the world? Does anything to you seem more random in terms of price than airline?
No.
Like more random. Like you have no idea. You have no idea anytime you check. Usually you check your computer to buy something and you have a price range.
Yes.
You get in front of your computer and you don't know if a flight's going to be $250 or $1,250. You have no idea.
Correct. Yes. It's very random, especially when you call. Like they'll put you on hold for a second. It's almost like, hey, how much should I charge this guy?
Does anyone have a friend in the airlines who like runs scams for them? Like you got a friend in the airline who just knows how to find the lowest prices.
I think they track like how often you look into that flight too. So like the more you look at it, the more they raise the price. So like you have to delete your like cookies and then the price will go back down.
Yeah, is that true?
I'm pretty sure that happens.
No.
Yeah. That they track when you're looking at it. And if you keep looking at the same flight, they raise
you got to be making that up. I don't believe that.
I think he's right.
I think that happens.
Yeah, I've read that somewhere.
Put it on the poll. Whatever it is that you just alleged, put it on the poll.
Hi, everyone. Stugotz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you are confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you the same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you are getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz. That's rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, Stugotz, equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Don Batard.
Another guy writes in, can you kiss LeVar Big Ballers bleep anymore? He's a loudmouth idiot living life through his son.
Don't dare us to kiss his bleep some more, because we will.
We'll wash his balls. I don't think I did that right.
No.
Stugotz.
What did you do there?
What I did there, if you really want to classify it, is identified as I made a mistake.
When did you know that you had made a mistake?
I did. Well, I would say right around where I got the looks of horror. I would say that's when I realized it. It felt wrong coming out of my mouth. Let me rephrase that.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
So the Dolphins don't have a game now. The season does not start on Sunday for the Miami Dolphins. And that feels wrong for a number of different reasons. I guess many of you are more concerned with bigger things, so you don't care about this element right now. But beyond being a competitive disadvantage forced on you by the weather, that you now lose your bye week. You just don't have a bye week. You got to go 16 straight weeks without a rest week. And we've seen all the numbers on how much better teams do when they've had a week of rest. But to me, it starts the larger conversation of how stupid it is that we have a sport where it is acknowledged that 1 week of rest between games will help you recover and heal your body, and they only get one of them. And now the Dolphins and Bucs don't have any of them. But the very idea that's baked into the bread, into the fabric of what it is that you're watching, the idea that the physical nature of that game makes so that the human body requires more rest than we're giving them.
Sure.
And that there's 1 week that they get off, every team. But now Tampa and Miami don't have a day off. Don't you feel like each team should have 6 or 7 bye weeks? If safety was really the priority that the NFL would like you to believe it is, shouldn't the football season go off into March or April with 6 or 7 bye weeks, 2 weeks between games, so that these guys could properly rest their bodies for something that is inherently not healthy?
I think that makes sense. And I was going to ask, how would you do that? And you're saying just extend it out to March or April. So
I know how implausible that is, but I'm saying I'm starting with
implausible.
But no, it is implausible to have a season go that long. But what I'm saying is, if safety is the priority, then make it the damn priority. If it's the most important thing, it's not. Right. Otherwise, there wouldn't be Thursday night football. There's greed on the other end. Do you realize that by giving the bye weeks, they're giving them less health than they're taking away by making them play on Thursday nights, 3 days after having already played?
Yeah, it's really bad. They don't care about safety. We know that. But I'd be down with that. That'd be, yes. If you're interested in safety, then extend the season out. Give them maybe 3 or 4 bye weeks, something like that. I think one thing the NFL can do is maybe take the Dolphins Thursday night game away and put it on a Sunday. You know? Just to try to make up something there. Take that Thursday game away and make it on a Sunday.
They've gone through all the options, and their option is to choose the physically unhealthiest one for the Dolphins and Tampa.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying with the Thursday game, but the Thursday game, yes, you get short rest leading into it, but you get longer rest coming out of it.
But think about all of it, though. Think about what I'm talking about. The idea that you would need any of that, if indeed we've established that you need it, and I think we have.
Right.
Why wouldn't you give them more? Why would you not give them 3 and 4 bye weeks a season? Whatever is tenable to you and your greed.
Sure. No, makes sense. But we know why they're not doing it. They don't care. I mean, Dan, you really think they care at this point?
I think there's probably more money in it for them as a league. It would be beneficial for them to go longer
to extend it
of
out?
a season. Yeah, because you dominate the sports landscape as long as the league is going on, right?
Can you guys
you stagger the bye week so you actually have your football every weekend.
Can you guys get me Adam Schefter at some point during the show today?
He is actually joining us today. He's joining us today.
Wow.
All right, I want to ask him, see if he can explain to me why it is, or what the drawbacks would be in making the season 2 or 3 months longer.
Okay.
Because we have to be missing something.
We have to be missing something. The other sports would hate it, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, absolutely hate it. You're dragging it into March Madness. College basketball would hate it. You're dragging it into opening day of Major League Baseball. They wouldn't like it. The NBA wouldn't like it.
Mm-hmm. But what do they have to care about any of that for?
Wouldn't you have to pay everyone more, too? So then the cap would get bigger?
Pay any more? Yeah, for more work, sure.
They're practicing more.
Then the off-season's shorter. They wouldn't have any breasts because of, OTAs or whatever.
You could eliminate the preseason and start the regular season earlier.
Yes, you should do that.
Yeah.
You'd have
bye weeks there.
But you'd have a hard time figuring out who the players on your team should be. That's what they use preseason for, but tough.
We'll have one preseason game. For the bubble guys, have a preseason game. See how they perform. One game for their football lives.
I mean, they don't really need a game.
I'd watch that, actually.
Yeah, but that's not really a very good evaluation.
A lot at stake there, man. It'd be bigger than a Super Bowl.
They decide who's making their team in training camp. That's where they can evaluate the talent with training camp.
I guess technically we have that game, and I don't watch it. It's preseason game number 4. But I'm saying make it the only preseason game. So it's special. It stands out. And call it Fighting for Their Football Lives.
Tuesday's over. I already did the show with Cody, and now I'm looking over at the next incarnation of Cody as he makes the joke and then sips vigorously from his bottle, content, like Kermit, like the Kermit sipping tea.
Eisner! Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
I want to show you my first ever painting.
All right.
Okay. Open your eyes.
Oh, that's a lot of colors and shapes.
So be honest. What do you think?
Well, I like how if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Here, why don't I hold your paintbrush while you call them?
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Don Batard.
Hall of Famer Tony Perez pees in the shower. Hall of Famer Andre Dawson does not.
Stugotz.
That is the news that I bring you. I'm a journalist.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
Vegas Point Blank on Twitter shares the following. With the Buccaneer-Dolphin game pushed back to November 19th because of Hurricane Irma, the Dolphins will now go from August 17th to October 8th without a home game. That's crazy.
It is.
And it's a competitive disadvantage. Like, that's crazy. To go August 17th to October 8th without a single home game.
It's tough, but they'll make up for it on the back end. You'll have, you hope for this team to be in the playoff chase like they were last year, and you'll have a bunch of home games towards the latter part of the season, and it's a lot better than what they were planning on doing, or at least what they were talking about doing yesterday, which was moving week 1 to either Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, because then you lose 2 home games this season.
Right, and one of those road games is against the Jets. So
I know, but still, you're going to Los Angeles, you're going to London, like that one.
It's a lot, yes.
Woo!
It's stacked against them.
Yes. You're basically, it's 2 months.
Right.
It's 2 months without a home game. That's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen that before. That can't be something that's happened in that league before.
It's pretty crazy. But at least under this scenario, you get to keep that home game as opposed to losing it to somewhere in the state of Pennsylvania.
But do you guys think that has ever happened before? Where you've got, what is it, an 8-week period? Is it 2 months? Where an NFL team doesn't have a single home game?
I'm guessing it's never happened before. I mean,
I'm guessing it's happened before just based off of
No, I don't.
You think that's happened before?
Well, I know that.
Think about what he's saying.
I know that teams have been displaced by natural disasters before, and it might have worked that way. I know the New Orleans Saints played an entire season away from home for a season, even though they technically had home games.
It's 7 weeks. So 7 weeks without a home game. You've got that right in the middle of your season with a backup quarterback. I would start reducing the expectations on this season so it could be a pleasant surprise. And it could be the strip club and it could be Jay Cutler. But start reducing the expectations on this season and you'll be happier with your Miami Dolphins experience.
Don't you think that happened when Tannehill went down?
I don't.
You don't?
No.
I think expectations sort of maintained.
I think a lot of people saw that as either push or an upgrade at that position? There are many people that you talk to who believe that to be an upgrade, who are anti-Tannehill people. It is not an upgrade, but there are many people who can convince themselves with the great, wonderful fuel of hope that it's an upgrade. Because I don't think there are many Dolphin fans who already think the season's over, even though under these circumstances in a vacuum, if I told you that this was somebody else's team and you didn't carry that hope with you, that if I told you a team is playing in Tom Brady's division with their backup quarterback, do they have a chance? The answer is always no.
100%. That answer is always going to be no.
But I'm saying, if you were looking at another team and this was their predicament, they're going against Tom Brady with Jay Cutler, their backup quarterback, you would say that team has no chance. But because it's your team, you may be willing to talk yourself into it.
Yes, you'll find ways. I tell you this every single year. I know how bad the Jets are going to be, but I'll find ways. I won't.
Not this year.
Dan, I've already found them. I'm telling you, I found them.
Not this year.
I'll find ways to convince myself that it could be 3-1, it could be 2-2. I'm just saying, when you're close to the team, when you love the team that much, you're right. Especially with the Dolphins and the fall off from Tannehill to Cutler isn't that much. You're right. I'm saying you're right. I'm sure Dolphin fans have not lowered their expectations that much.
I feel like most people can see that Jets team being the 1-15 Dolphins team. Like maybe they'll be 4-12 instead,
right?
Because they'll win a game or here and there the way that NFL teams do, but. That Jets team, I think by consensus, is the worst team in the sport. That San Francisco and Cleveland have gotten better enough, and the Jets have gotten worse enough that I think most people would look at the Jets and say that's the worst team in the sport.
People are saying that. They're saying the Jets are the worst team in the sport. Dan, they have the odds of them getting to the Super Bowl. It's 1,000 to 1. We talked about it yesterday. There have never been odds like that for any team to make it to the Super Bowl, which is crazy. They're the biggest underdog ever.
There you
go. In NFL history.
Well, that doesn't sound right, but if you say that it's so, you cannot talk yourself into the idea that this team is going to surprise some people. How?
The schedule. I mean,
Stugotz, there is no schedule when you're the worst team in the league that's favorable.
I understand that, but the weirdness of the sport where, a couple of things bounce your way, a guy gets hurt, you don't know, and then they got a 3-game stretch at home against the Dolphins, at home against Jacksonville, on the road against Cleveland. I've talked myself into a 3-2 start.
Wait a minute.
I have, Dan. I can do it. I do it every year.
No, but this is because you don't take inventory of any of your own thoughts.
Because I'm a fan. Because I love the team so much.
No, but just, Stugotz. Mike, do we want Stugotz to care about anything in the realm of consistency? Because you got done saying last segment that the Dolphins should be okay on their 7-week road trip because one of the road games is at the Jets. You just said that. So you've got, in 2 segments, you've got that being a possible win for the Dolphins and a possible win for the Jets at 15 minutes apart.
I think I said that this segment. Are you okay, man? I said it 5 minutes ago.
All right.
Everything okay with you, man?
Maybe it is this segment. But really, we're taking inventory of where I am with things because I'm actually taking inventory of your thoughts and you're not? I'm actually keeping a record of the things that you say as opposed to you, who doesn't keep any inventory of what he said.
Right.
So he could say something 5 minutes later that is the direct opposite of what he said 5 minutes earlier.
Just say the word, man. If you want me to start taking inventory, I'll start taking inventory. Just let me know. Say the word and I'll do it.
See, that's a question I have.
I'm lying. I can't do it even if I try.
I don't think that you can, but it's a legitimate question I have. Would the show be better or worse if Stugotz learned? Because it's a question I have with my father on television.
Just in general, learned?
Yes. Just if my father's not capable of learning at this point. He's a formed old man. And that produces some of the funniest things on the television show because they're organic things that you can never imagine, even if you were comedically pitch perfect. There are things that he messes up that are funny that you couldn't have predicted.
Sure.
And they're things that he should have learned by now. And I don't know whether this is what I want help with, Mike. This is the thing that I want help with as the guy who is the rudder on this ship. Stugotz is more capable of learning than my father. Stugotz has done some learning. Stugotz has embraced this character of his. Is this character better than the show we were doing when Stugotz was the sports gas bag, but didn't know it with any self-awareness? So I was able to prick holes in what it is that he was doing, but he's learned some stuff now, so he's not as easy to box in. Still pretty easy. It's not as easy.
I was going to say.
It's pretty damn easy,
It's still pretty easy, but I'm saying it's not.
Fish in a barrel, man.
No, but what I'm saying is we do whole segments. We do whole weeks of shows about a certain topic that he has now changed his mind on because we'd be arguing about things like whether Bill Parcells and his role in the front office could prevent injuries on the Miami Dolphins because they had that 11-5 season when no one got injured. We argued about that for a week where Stugotz was saying that Bill Parcells has this ability to make guys not tear their ligaments.
Guys never get injured under his watch.
I bet you if we listen to the older shows, he's always been like this. It just took us a while to calibrate to this sort of
but what I'm saying
creature.
is, this is what I'm saying. This particular mutation of Stugotz, listen to me, this is important. Audience, listen to me on this. This is what's happened with Stugotz. Stugotz has been rewarded so much for how he's been and has learned just enough with no subtlety to be sort of a steroid monster cartoon manifestation of what he used to be. So he argues with a straight face and then drinks from his cup when he argued that a preseason game between scrubs fighting for their job on the Dolphins would be bigger than the Super Bowl. This was a comment that pleased him, and he drank vigorously from his cup after saying it.
Right.
That is not something that he would have that boldly thrown out there because it's asinine. It's over the top. Asinine. What he says has no bearing in reality, but he's now going further and further into those extremes because he thinks there are rewards there.
You want me to dial it back? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just wondering whether it would be better or worse if you did dial it back. I don't know the answer to that question. I legitimately don't.
That game has to have a title. It's playing for your football lives. That's what it is. Yes.
But
There's a nice ring to it.
Mike, do you understand what I'm saying?
You painted such a vivid picture. I retained everything that you said.
Which one's better?
This one.
Stugotz,
This
the
one.
most. This is the most evolved Stugotz. But do we like?
It's the most evolved yet devolved.
No, but here's the thing. Guillermo, put it on the poll. Which is better?
Oh man,
this evolved Stugotz or the old primitive Stugotz? I don't know the answer to that question. I honestly don't. It's the same way that I tell you, Stugotz, that when we leave the television show, my father was dreadful yesterday, and there's some times when my father is bad in the taping of the show that makes me wonder, is the show going to be any good when it gets aired? And the way that they cut it up, it's always good because they're only taking the funny things that he says, which is why everyone thinks my father is so funny because he's taken 10 hacks and 9 are not funny at all.
And you don't hear the clunkers.
You don't hear any. I do. Oh, no. I hear the clunkers. I hear and live with every one of the clunkers. But on television, you don't see any of them. They never appear. My father is a magically edited celebrity television creature. It's why my father said, my brother, this happens all the time. Somebody who yell will be walking somewhere and somebody will go, Poppy! And my brother will mutter under his breath, bleeping magic box, the magic television box, bleeping magic box, making this a celebrity.
How long do the clunkers haunt you? Like, do you hear them like for the remainder of the day or just in the moment?
I love that you just call them clunkers as if the audience knows that because my father calls them clunkers. He says after he makes a joke and he sees that nobody's reacted to it, he's like, that was another clunker. And we're like, yeah.
Man, everyone around you kind of failed you yesterday. Seems like you had a tough day because I know me and Cody completely failed you and your dad failed you. How was Israel? Was Israel any good?
This is the thing, though. And I was terrible, too, yesterday. But the thing is that the great thing about being the rodeo clown is that you always get to be the rodeo clown, and very few people are disappointed by the rodeo clown. Right. So you and Cody making a mess yesterday or my dad making a mess, like there's great joy in that for the audience because you guys are the rodeo clowns and the bull is incensed. The bull is annoyed.
Because there were a lot of people on Twitter who were upset with you. You're right, is what I'm telling you. You're right. I'm sitting here telling the audience that Dan was struggling yesterday, and I'm supposed to help lift him up when that happens. I didn't do that. I did a terrible job, but I checked my mentions after the show, and you were getting destroyed, and people said, Stu, you killed it yesterday.
Huge praise for you.
And I was thinking, man, that's just a terrible way for Dan to go through life. But a great way for me.
It's okay.
Can't do anything wrong.
It's okay. They pay me in power and freedom. It's the trade.
Sorry I wasn't there for you.
It's the trade. I take it as every time I see the paycheck, I'm like, okay, power and freedom. It's not such a bad gig.
The paycheck erases Tuesdays,
but though? I'm legitimately confused though. I don't know. Would the show be better or worse if Cody knew what he was doing?
Oh no, we don't want Cody knowing what he's doing.
But this is what I'm saying.
No. I think I'd want Cody to have a much better idea of what he's doing.
Well, hold on. You want Cody to be Greg Cody because that's what makes him lovable. You're just talking about radio, right? You're talking about just the format of radio, just knowing when. Okay.
Yeah, there's certain times that he does things that you can't do anything with.
He's oblivious. Like
it drags the show down.
You'll have to marvel at it. His inability to learn is it should be one of the wonders of the world. I'm not even kidding you. The pyramids and Cody's inability to learn.
There are people texting in, and, maybe they're new listeners. It's
they're all going to be mad at me.
Well, no. They're saying this is evolved.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, you guys have no idea. But the other creature was interesting because the other creature didn't know it. You, in your previous form, were the court jester that didn't know you were the court jester.
Right.
And to me,
I didn't know you guys were laughing at
the
me.
layers of that.
Yes.
The layers of that were funny. Yeah. But you also do because Stugotz has learned. I would argue that this Stugotz is the best Stugotz that we've ever seen. So he has made the show better by being better. I don't know if the same can be said for Greg Cody and my father, that if they got better at those things, because the funny things they produce are unlearned, totally unlearned.
They're actually frustrating, right? We go through hoops to make them funny. Or you do at least.
I mean, it's one
your
of
television producers.
One of the few frustrations in my professional life is those hoops you speak of.
I don't know what we're doing where we're making Greg funny solely because he's incompetent. I don't think we're giving him enough credit. I think he could be funny and contribute heavily if he knew where the hard network out is. The hard network out, it's funny to get him. I'd much rather not have that gag at the end of an hour. I'd rather go to break easily. That was us making a diamond out of something that was incredibly frustrating.
Greg is really funny, but he doesn't know anything about radio and, by his own admission, has no idea the difference between good and bad radio. Doesn't have any antenna for it. And he just sits here as if he would on the bar stool next to you. Like every time he's in here, he is as fundamentally clueless as anyone I've ever met in my life about how to do that. He's got to be like the lowest on the power rankings of doing radio. How do you do it? Do you know how to do it? He's last. He's the worst.
And he's a smart man.
That's the weird thing.
He's a smart man.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make it. He's a smart, funny man. Greg Cody's bleeping funny, man. Few people in my life make me laugh the way that dude makes me laugh. But rarely is it here when we're on the air.
It just makes you angry.
I mean, it's weird. It's weird.
It is, because you're right. In your personal life, he will make you laugh. He will make you happy. Here, I've seen it. He makes you, red-faced anger.
Well,
that type of anger.
Am I the only one, though? How do you guys feel about it? Because I know Mike gets frustrated, but he's got some of the same concerns as I do. The thing that mitigates it and soothes it for me is how delighted you guys all seem by how agitated I'm getting by his incompetence. Okay, I'm getting all nods in the back room, so that's what it is.
I love Greg. I think he does a great job. I think he's one of the best parts of the show, and you getting upset is just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I mean,
it really is.
Angry Dan is the best. Just, fit in, Dan. Fit in with Greg.
Right, but I'm the one who's got to fit in.
Yeah.
What's the thing that he's done where even you've said, you know what? That might be funny, but that was unfair to Dan and the show. Chris is grabbing the microphone because he's got a long list of them because nobody experiences the show. Chris, you don't enjoy Tuesdays that much, right? Tuesdays is your least favorite day, or you've grown to like it more?
I used to dread it. I've come around on him. When he talks off mic and is talking to you guys during a segment, that is I want to punch him in the face.
But that's him!
Right, that's genuine.
There are 50 things a show that he does like that, where he's like, you gotta talk in the microphone.
Right, that infuriates me. But for the most part, I've come around and I laugh.
Look at Guillermo laughing. Guillermo's laughing at me getting upset. He's not even here, and Guillermo's just laughing in my face about me getting upset.
He wins.
He does, but that's the funny dynamic. I mean, for all of us, that part, maybe not Mike, but it is funny for all of us to see it. But again, we don't sit in your seat, man. We don't walk in your shoes, Dan.
I don't feel like you guys agree with me on this. I feel like Mike does, but Mike is overly concerned with my feelings.
Yeah, I view everything through Dan's prism.
And
so if Dan doesn't like it, you don't.
Well, I mean, yeah, he just.
Well, if Dan's not having a good time with the show stinks. So it's all related.
But usually you have a good time with Cody here, even while he frustrates
you. I usually have a good time working. Period.
Yeah. Right.
Period. Like
that's Cody's value to me because it just by seeing him, it puts Dan in a good mood. But Cody can quickly sour that mood.
It's funny, right? More than any of the co-hosts. But then it can also thaw and dissipate just as quick. In fact, quicker than it does with anybody. It happened yesterday. Like all of a sudden we were mad. I was mad at him about something, and then he read Back in My Day, and I was just smiling the whole time, and then he ruined it again at the end. But like for 2 minutes there, I had 2 glorious minutes of bliss where I was just smiling and laughing with my friend.
I would say if he gives you 2 minutes every Tuesday, that should be enough.
Well, that's asking a lot of him. It is. It's a big ask. If 2 of his minutes are good minutes.